Hey everybody, this is Cindy Allen, Editor-in-Chief of Interior Design. And today, hold on, because we're talking with the undisputed hero in our design world. He's an architect and designer, an inventor, artistic director, the whole lot, but he also can be described as subversive, a little political, ecological, and he uses humor in everything he designs. Yes, 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 it is my honor to have Philippe Starck in the Zoom house today. And we're chatting about a new collaboration, an amazing one with our dear friends at Andre World, a wonderful company committed to good design that's good for the planet. Now, they actually have two projects together. One is a brand new chair we're going to talk about right now called the Adela Rex, and also a new book called Conversations About Work. This is going to be special. Hi, guys. Welcome everyone from home. Cheer. Philippe Starck, designer and founder of Starck Studio, and Jesus Linares, CEO of Andre World. Hi, guys.
Hola. Hola. A pleasure to see you. A pleasure to be with you and with Philippe today to speak about this new project. We are really excited about that.
Of course. I was saying, Philippe, that Jesus, his hair is longer. I saw him like 6 months ago. His hair is longer. Okay, so everybody, tell me where in the world you are right now. Philippe, where are you?
I am on the Bassin d'Arcachon, which is a laguna, a little like Venice, which is in southwest of France, close Bordeaux, with just in front of me the biggest dune of Europe, and it's where I produce oysters.
Really?
Yes, I produce oysters, and my oysters are a little special because I am the only one in the world to produce cubic oysters.
What is that? What's a cubic oyster?
It's a cubic, it's a oysters, which is a perfect polished cube, naturally.
Wow.
Oh. Yes, I do it by hypnose. They become cubic.
Jesus, are you in Spain?
Yes, I'm in Spain. I'm in Valencia, where the company comes from. It's close to the sea, in the east coast of Spain. We have the beach practically in front of us. It's good weather now. This summer, fortunately, is not so hot. Then we are enjoying a wonderful time with more freedom, we can say. And we are excited about our next step as a company, not for the new introductions and new designs, but the expansion of our facilities in different places, new showrooms and new factories. And this is a good moment to step by step continue growing. That is our goal. Sustainable.
Absolutely, sustainable for sure. So I'm out in the Hamptons, so I'm near the water too. I wish we were all together, but this will have to do. Can I just say that I'm so delighted about this collaboration. I've known Andre World for, so many years, and they're a company that's so thoughtful, working with brilliant designers, but it tends to be like these long collaborations, which I believe is the best way to work with big designers. Philippe, tell us how you guys got together.
I don't remember because I remember nothing, but I think exceptionally, perhaps it's the only time in my life, I think I call them, I call you, Jesus, no? Yes, I call them and I said, I want to work with you. It's the first and I think the last time I do it, and hopefully it was a very, very, very good idea.
Wow. Jesus, what was that like getting a call from Philippe? Not bad, huh?
It's true that the reality is that we maintain updated Philippe Starck in our different progresses in the woodworking technology, in the craftsmanship. That is our strength in the company. And then thanks to that, we have the chance to have a conversation together in Paris. And after that, because our idea is to have a new, creative, and sustainable wooden chair, a new design, fresh. And we thought that Philippe Starck was, as a master, can be the perfect designer, the perfect person to do that. And thanks to these initial contacts and his open mind to collaborate, we start talking. And then he it was interesting to know a little bit more about our capabilities, skills, technologies, and we did a kind of visit, technical visit, more technical and engineering, speaking about details, and this was the initial step to start working together.
Okay, so Philippe, let's talk about this chair. I mean, we know you for innovation, always innovation. How was that learning about like the properties of wood and what Andre World could do and how you could innovate with a chair?
You know, since ever, I try to use ecological materials. Plywood is really, really ecological if we have the right glue. Because with one tree, you make kilometers of veneer. And when you press this veneer, you make plywood. That's why I discover a passion for plywood, which is one of the smartest material which exist. 1 minute, and I said, I think there is a company to do that. Yeah. The right people is Andre World. That's why I call them for this reason. I said, I feel this company can make very high quality product, very, very affordable. We can say the right price with the right technology because the company is vertical. They have the designer, they have the development, and they have the factories, they have the machines, they have everything. That's why I decide, I start to design a big collection in 2D, I repeat 2D, not 3D plywood. And I call Jesus, and we had a meeting. I was first meeting, like Jesus said, it was trying to know how is the factory. And I was very, very impressed. I'm very, very impressed because I love professional.
That's the good stuff for you, right? That is the good stuff, right?
I am a real professional. I love real professional. You know, my father was a quite famous aircraft engineer, and me, my heritage is engineering. And I love to speak or to engineer or people who think and who act like engineer. I find all that with Andrew, and I can tell you it's a great, great pleasure to work with them. We have succeeded something which is almost unique, almost, I'm not sure, I don't know well the market. That means with 2D cost, we have made a little 3D. That means we have made two 3D, we can say that. That means a sort of 3D at the cost of 2D, which is quite new, and it's a revolution. That's why I have never said I shall work all my life with plastic. I have always said I want to work with intelligent materials.
Yeah, and I think Philippe, we as design people really understand that. Yes, you've designed a lot of plastic, but I'm not surprised to hear any of that, just in terms of wanting to always, do what's good for the planet and researching it. And I love Jesus that, don't you love that when he thought about wood, he's like, I have to go to Andre World. That's kind of cool because you guys at the core are all about wood. So what was it like for you to work with such a brilliant mind as Philippe in terms of doing something like new and innovative?
For us, Philippe Stark is, as I mentioned before, is a master. Then it's an opportunity for us to have a contemporary, timeless new design made in wood. And the origin was our capabilities, as Philippe explained a little bit. We were probably the first company in the world having 100% FSC in all the wood, because we are probably one of the unique company on that, having the control from the forest until the final product delivered anywhere. And then we have all the drying process, all the cutting, reforesting, all of this is controlled. And thanks to that, in 2005, we were 100% FSC. From this point of view, we have been working hard in sustainability because it's part of our philosophy, it's part of our culture. And then we take care about the craftsmanship, about how we can retain and even grow in knowledge. Because when the people have retired, sometimes the tension in the companies is to lose knowledge, but knowledge in this kind of old traditional craftsmanship that combined with new machinery and new technology is able to achieve this product that Philippe is explaining now. Now we push to the limit a little bit the 2D plywood curved technology that is part of our strength, part of our origin as a company. And then we generate a design that seems to be 3D, but with the efficiency and the process and the cost of the 2D. And the result, we are surprised very positively, because we have this ecological product that has a carbon footprint around 1.5 kilograms of carbon dioxide. That is, if we consider that the industry is around 40 to 60 kilograms of CO2 equivalent, this is really below the average, and this practically zero. Our goal as a company is in 2025 be a carbon neutral company, and because we have the forest, we are close to achieve it, and we are working towards that, not only in the wood but in the rest of the technology. And this chair, thanks to this assembled upholstery solution, thanks to the low formaldehyde emissions we are working with the plywood, is going to be another step towards probably one of the most sustainable products made in wood in the market.
Philippe, can you tell us something that was like a surprise in the process, or something like complicated that you had to figure out that you could kind of share with us?
There is nothing complicated when we are with smart people with a high cultural level like Ressus. Ressus know very, very well the design. And when we have one unique goal, one unique target, which is just to make the best product with the less possible for the maximum people.
Jesus, was there something in the process that was like Philippe said, when you have a great partner, you figure it out, but is there something, because this is innovation here for you guys.
For me, it's, I think is how Philippe was excited about the project, and this is transmitted to the whole team, the Andreu World team as well, and how we works towards this objective, because we start talking in 2019, but during last year, even during the Corona and the pandemic, we were able to advance, to progress with the video conference, sometimes physical meetings from Portugal to Spain, and we worked really hard during that times, and this determination, we can say, this focus in progress in these beautiful projects, and the enthusiasm that everybody put, this gives us the energy to try to push to the limit this process, this technology, and to do our best, because it's challenging from one side, what we did with Philippe, but his attitude and how his love for design and innovation and the passion make us do our best.
I love
thank you, Jesus. But only a vertical organization like Underworld can bring, I repeat, the right price, but also the right technology in the right time.
Jesus, that's an amazing message, because there is a big sustainable message to Andre World. But what Philippe is saying, and that sort of, to me, is also representative in the designers, the luminaries that you work with, in getting it right, and that you do it so well together, like that kind of deep collaboration. That's why you have these long-standing relationships with so many amazing designers.
Yeah. For us, it's this encourages us that a leader and opinion leader, and with the knowledge that Philippe Stark transmit always to others, no? And then generate kind of resonance in our company, and we are very sensible for that. We are very open to learn, to grow, to evolve. We love challenges. Realistically, we love challenges, And we know that sometimes in these apparently difficult moments is when you find a way to do something a little bit different. And in our industry that theoretically is traditional, we can apply amazing and technology that nobody can thought 20 years ago or 15 years ago.
Right.
And now is in all the industry, the artificial intelligence that Philippe is explaining, but many others that give us the chance to do things really unique. And this is from other point of view, this is encouraging for us. We love that.
And you know, something which was fun, it was when I arrived, the first meeting with Jesus, I said, I won't make a plywood furniture, but I know nothing. I know very well my job in all other, especially injection, but for plywood and wood, I know nothing. I never do it in my life. That's why for me, it was a real adventure. And even I said to Jesus, you know, I even not sure I can do it. I have this idea, I have this vision. I know where I want to go, but I don't know if I am able to do it. That's why I remember I spent time to look at the collection of underwear to see how it works and things like that. And I learned my job. And after I learn with them, they teach me how make wood production. And that is perhaps the only thing I learned since years and years.
Yeah, but Philippe, isn't that what's so exciting, right? You know, that you come to the table with your, you know, your brilliant history of making anything and everything, but going to them and saying, hey, I don't know about wood, help me. Like, that's kind of amazing.
Yes. No, and it's and you know, it's always very, very fertile when you have the final idea, but when you don't know how to do it, because you are a complete outsider. An outsider have always a different angle of view and can bring new idea, can bring new technology, and that it's a little my specialty.
Yeah, and don't you think, or I'm imagining for you, because you know so many companies, work with so many companies, to step into a company like Andre World and kind of be surprised at what they actually can do, want to do, and will do with you.
Yes, but surprise, it's sparks of life.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Okay, so but can I just ask like a simple question? Like, what does that name mean?
It's very, very difficult to create names because it's always there is something with the same name. That's why now I have I love the idea to give a soul, to give a name to product. Now I do something very simple. I take my iPad, I go on music, I take all the singer I love, and let me see, artist. Voilà, I take all the artists, yes, and I take all the family name and all the first name, and after I mixed the first name with other family name, and it's only all this name come from very famous people, but you can't recognize because there is
you mixed them up. Yeah, I love that. That's great. I didn't know if you were going to say, oh, that's my dog's name, or that's my, you know, or something. So I love that.
I work only with music, non-stop. And I create with music.
Okay, wait a minute, you guys, before we have to talk about, well, thank you for this. I'm very excited. By the way, I'm super excited, Philippe, because we have NeoCon coming up and the chair is going to be at NeoCon. I wish you would come. I don't know. Are you, so Jesus, you're going to be there. Philippe, are you going to be there?
And you know what? This is something that, because the first step of the chair is Milano in Super Salone. And we are going to do kind of communication official to the market because it's the moment. And after that, we need to speak about NeoCon. For me, it will be a pleasure to have Philippe there and have the chance to introduce the two novelties. Not only
Philippe, come on over.
I'm sorry. I can decide everything, but I cannot decide of my life. My
Yeah.
life is driven by my wife, and I am a remote control toy. And she just tell me, "Zzz, zzz, go to Germany, zzz, zzz, go to Italy, go to
I hear
US,
you.
and I follow."
Okay, well, look, we're throwing it out there in the world that maybe you'll show up. I'd love to give you a hug and sit in the chair with you. How amazing would that be? But you know, we'll manage. We'll manage. I do want to talk about the book. So Jesus, you guys are kind of getting known for creating these interesting books. You had the Eat Well Seated. You did the chair book. There was also the Historias para leer sentado, right? Stories to read seated. Yeah, exactly. And now you have conversations about work. And it's such an interesting book, because while we're trying to figure out what the heck our work life is going to be like, you're talking to luminaries who have never looked at, first of all, their job as work, but also have never looked at anything that you would consider traditionally work. And that's what's so interesting about hearing about them. Philippe, I know there's a whole chapter on you, and you say, you know, your work is not work, your work is play, your work is who you are.
Yes, the idea of the book is it's an opportunity, a real opportunity to reflect. If you have to change, and we have to change, everybody, we need to think about, and who better than designers that they have also offices and ateliers, studios that can make this reflection and help us to think together about work. This is the main purpose. The idea is how we want to continue working from now on. No? In this 408-page book, in which you can find answers, questions about technology, sustainability, and health, with direct influence to the office after the pandemic as well. We have the possibility to build together and with the best of our creativity, a healthier and more balanced society. The idea is to put together in a book 8 different personalities, Philip Stark, plus Jasper Morrison or Patricia Ortiola, with Alberto Alievore, Benjamin Hoover, Alfredo Haverly, 8 designers that have been working with Andre World, and then they open the doors of their studios and they share with us how they manage the talent, how they generate the creativity and the innovation, how they organize their own studios. And this is completely different, 8 different business models of success models. And the good thing is that they has been very open, sharing that with everybody. And this is what is the content of this book.
That's what I love, that they were very, very open. Philippe, they're sort of like each designer has their own methodology, their only way of being and working. And there's kind of a theme that you pulled out, Andre World, right? So Philippe, yours is 1 project a day. Is that really what you try to do?
No, it's not what I try to do, it's what I do.
Oh, excuse me, Philippe. But is it what, do you limit it? I mean, it's a lot when you think about 1 a day, but is it always limited to 1 a day?
No.
Yeah, okay.
No, I can make more. No, but you know, that looks cuckoo, but it's very easy if you live like a cuckoo. I live like a monk. I live at the top of a mountain. I live in the middle of the mud. I live on the dune. I live in the middle of the forest. I don't go to restaurant. I don't go to cocktail. I don't watch TV. I don't speak to anybody. If somebody speaks to me, I understand nothing and I don't care. I am every morning alone with my paper, my pad, pad, my pencil, and that's all. Every morning at 7 o'clock, I am in front of myself. I live like that, but I don't say you have to live like that, because it's not really fun. because people have a life. People live their life. Me, I don't live my life. I live in project. When you project, you live always on the future. Me, I shall die in the next 10 years without had any life except my dreams.
Philippe, what is your, where in that of your life is your happiest place?
My happiest place is to be with my wife, with my daughter, anywhere, which is a way of everything, and where I can have a good music to work quietly. And this, we have a collection. My only lux is to have a collection of this type of place, like I tell you, in Portugal, at the top of the mountain, in Portugal, in the forest, in the Portugal, in the dune, here with the sea, with the biggest dune in front of me, with my sailing boat, and but can be any hotel room. I don't care. I don't care about all that.
Can I say that the last time we met, you were also talking about your wife, and it was so sweet, like so dear, you know, and it just made me like think of you in a different way.
You know, Cindy, if you're married to say bad things about your wife, it's a huge mistake.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. But I love that you're happy place. I love that your happy place is there, you know, which is lovely. Jesus, it was interesting, right, to get all these truths from these designers that you put in the book, right?
Yeah. It's really the good thing is how they complement each other, how so different they are. The only one thing in common that probably they can have is that they love what they do. They love their work, and their work is his life, because his life is the passion of this project by project. This is very well explained, no, by Philippe Stark, as he explained a little bit now, no. But it's interesting see how the different models complement, and they see the same theme from different point of views.
But
yeah,
you know, Jesus, I have just to correct something. Me, I don't love what I do. Absolutely not. I just don't know make something else, and it's just addiction, a high-level addiction. I know only doing this. That's all, but I don't like it. Absolutely not. I am obliged by what I don't know, but I am obliged.
He can't help himself. He just can't help himself.
No, it's true.
Yeah, you said there was a beautiful quote that you were saying to have, you know, beautiful children, parents must be in love, and it's the same with the project. So I just want to say that I feel the love between you and Andre World, and it's beautiful. And you know what came out of it is also a beautiful project that's good for the earth, and it's also innovative. And I, you know, sincerely want to thank you for this kind of collaboration, and I'm looking forward to more, and somehow making you happy, Philippe. Now that's a new goal of mine.
You know, Cindy, I want to add something.
Yeah.
You're speaking about couple. My couple with Jesus. You know why I love Jesus? It's because he's absolutely honest. Absolutely honest. With a type of honesty who have almost disappeared. It's an honesty from a long time ago. And it's so rare and so beautiful to see somebody up like a crystal of honesty. That's why I love him.
Oh, Jesus, this is like, okay, what am I getting chills? Gonna start crying over here? What's going on over here? Philippe, you just softened into a baby.
But you know what, Cindy, there is something, the approach we have in our company in general is that because of the market in general is complex. No? Our company we are doing business in more than 100 countries, and we are doing export business, no? Outside of Spain, more close to 90%. Then is this complexity push us and me as CEO of the company to try to work easy between us, make the things easy, clear, not double games. Try to, because we need to have all the energy in order to understand what the customer is looking for, understand what the markets are looking for, the trends, and then try to get the best from this talented designer like Philip Stark, and put our best capabilities as a company, our strength, to the service of the society in order to build something that can be good for the long term and obviously for the business. No? But this is, because of that, I think honesty is the short way to do that. The other thing is artificially longer and difficult and make more complex, which is by itself challenging.
Honestly, it's the best investment.
Yes, yes. And you know, I've known Andre World for many years now, and I completely agree. And but to see you connect in this way is something really, really special. And I look forward to long collaborations together. Jesus, yeah?
Sure. We have this one that we are sharing today. And there is another one that you will see in Neocon. Another one plus another soft seating solution, plus one seating wooden seat solution. Very democratic, very affordable and competitive as well. And we are working in some an ambitious next step with another technology, but with the same spirit, trying to do something propositive to the market. And I think we just started doing things together. Philippe Stark and the world.
I love that. I love that. And Philippe, I also want to thank you for everything you've given design and continue to give, and look forward to more bright futures ahead. And again, now I have a new goal that you're gonna somehow, I'm gonna make you happy somehow. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, Cindy.
Thank you, Cindy. See you.
Philippe,
Pleasure.
Philippe, thank you so much. It was a real pleasure. I know it might be unlikely to go to Neocon, but it would be amazing.
I asked my wife, can we go at Neocon?
We'll do our best. We'll try.
Oh, come over. Let's say, oh, hello.
You are absolutely
Oh my God,
invited.
it's so lovely to see you together. It's so beautiful.
You can come.
Okay, all right. Take care.
Hello, Design TV viewers. My name is Sarah Shelton, and I'm the market editor at Luxe Interiors and Design. Today, I am joined by 3 talented designers from across the country to discuss my favorite topic, trends, particularly trends that we were spotted at High Point Market earlier this summer. As you all know, the industry flocks down to High Point, North Carolina a few times a year to see what is launching, who is collaborating with who, what is in, what is hot. It is such a vital market for our industry. And what makes our guests today so special, aside from their raw talent, is that they are each one of a handful of High Point Market style spotters. It's a coveted position, and essentially they are tasked with scouring the market to find their favorite product and top trends. They are essentially like a style influencer, if you will. And from showroom to showroom, these style spotters leave little cards behind on the pieces that really catch their eye and in turn catch the attention of those who follow, like me. It's a great program, and this year marks its 10th year. So bravo to all style spotters, past and present. So soon we will dive into what those trends are and highlight some fabulous product and some showrooms, and really just get excited all over again to head back down to North Carolina to market, which is going to be pretty killer, I think. But first, let me introduce everyone. So first we have Sarah Malik Barney. Based in Austin, Texas, Sarah is the founder and principal of Band Design Firm, which was established in 2017. With the belief that design should feel effortless, approachable, comfortable, and welcoming, Sarah gravitates towards design that isn't too precious and doesn't take itself too seriously. Sarah's team is currently working on over 20 projects, ranging from new builds to remodels. And fun fact, before design, Sarah worked in the fast-paced entertainment and sports industries. Sarah, it is great to have you.
Happy to be here.
Great. Next up, we have Mcswain. Kia is a self-taught award-winning interior designer who loves travel, art, music, and curating textured and layered spaces. Kia currently resides in Denver, Colorado, and services clients all over the country. Kia's ability to express her creativity and her will to serve are two factors that have a heavy influence on her life. Also of important note, Kia is CEO and president of the Black Interior Designers Network. So good to see you again, Kia.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
And last but not least, we have Justin Chalice. Justin has an architecture background and in-depth knowledge of interiors. And with that, he transforms homes, apartments, and venues into stunning environments. Balancing the classic and the modern, he approaches each project collaboratively to create an aesthetic that vibes with the influence and context of the client. Based in New York City, he has completed work throughout the US, the Caribbean, and the UK for clients who demand luxurious surroundings. It is fabulous to have you, Justin. Hi.
Hello.
So thank you all for being here today. And can I just say that, man, it felt so good to be back at Market after a long absence. You know, to see the product and to touch it and to sit in it and to interact with it. It just felt so good. And I know it makes our jobs more exciting and all the better. But I'm sure you guys are sick of hearing from me and you're ready to hear from the designers. So let's jump right in with our very first trend from Sarah. Okay, Sarah, this is something that we couldn't stop talking about when we got home from Market, and it was clearly a big takeaway for you too, but boucle, it was everywhere. You know, just give us the basic definition of boucle and tell us why you think it is back in such a big way right now.
So boucle, yes, it was everywhere, right? Boucle is essentially a wool yarn that is spun to be looped or curled and give sort of like that nubby dimensional texture. And what I think the reason it's back is a couple of different things. I think there's a little bit of jumping in on that ASMR trend that is all over TikTok and whatever else that my children watch. So I think there's a little bit of that tactile feel to it that really, plays with people's minds, but also it's incredibly durable. So it's beautiful, but it looks really rich and luxurious, but it's very durable. And kids can destroy it or cannot destroy it actually, because they can actually just like go at it and it really holds up really well. So I think that durability that we're always looking for, I think that's why it sort of ties into the trends of today.
Yeah, and you know, like that, like you said, that ASMR, that nubbiness, like it's a neutral and it's soft, but it still has some texture. So it's not, you know, it has dimension to it, which I know is so important in a room. So Sarah, we asked you to pull some products that, you know, represented this trend, and you chose this gorgeous chair from Brisbane, the Uttermost chair. I think like kind of has like the best of both worlds. It's soft and it has a little hard edge, but like, what do you think makes this chair so good?
I mean, you nailed it exactly, right? There's an amazing juxtaposition to this chair. There's this industrial steel frame, but there's a really soft texture with plushy cushions that wrap the body of the chair. So I think it really just plays well with both worlds. And it's a way to bring in that comfort, but with a lighter frame that can really play with a lot of different heavier pieces as well.
Yeah, it looks like, you know, it looks kind of deep, kind of going back to your design ethos about like comfort and ease. And this looks like something you can kind of like, you know, curl up in and with a good book. But speaking of curling up, you also picked this incredible bed by Adler and Tweed. It's the Avery King bed. I mean, you kind of can't go wrong with a neutral upholstered bed, I would think. But Sarah, like, what's the big selling point on this piece?
Okay, so this piece, people have opinions about footboards, and I'm all for them because I like to feel sort of cocooned and wrapped up in a bed, and it really gives that feeling. But then also, it's got this big, grand sort of footprint, and it's got a point of view, but it's not overwhelming. It's not trying to be too much, but it knows exactly what it is and what it wants to be, and it knows it's the star of the show in the room. So it's soft, it's welcoming, but it's also still very big and grand at the same time.
Wow, who knew that footboards had, you know, such an opinion? I'm gonna have to start polling, you know, friends on the footboard commentary.
Don't knock it till you try it. People have opinions, but when you get one, you don't want to go back.
You won't go back. Amazing. Okay, noted. All right, Kio, let's jump into your first trend, curves, contemporary curves. I love this one. And, you know, same with boucle, there was no denying that curves are in, they were everywhere. You know, why is it, do you think we are gravitating towards these softer lines these days?
You know, I fell in love with curves like like my mom says, there's nothing new under the sun. Everything kind of makes its way back around, and I think there's this certain intimacy that's to be paired with curves that people are really seeking now. We're looking for pieces that, of course, are easily customizable, but pieces that look really good once they've been customized, whether it's a particular fabric that we've had our eye on for some time, or a specific room, that may be very masculine in form, very masculine in shape, and we want to soften it up a little bit. The best way to do that is with curves. So my eye is gravitating towards all these really cool curves, and they just make the space a bit more intimate.
Well, speaking of bringing some softness to a room, you chose this stunning sofa from South and English. It's called the Bardo Sofa. It is romantic, it's plush, and it has the most, feminine, beautiful curves. And when I saw something this beautiful, I just wanted to know where would you put this beautiful sofa with these beautiful curves?
Yeah, I thought this sofa was amazing, and it's so versatile. It could go in an open space, it could go in a den area, it could go in a primary bedroom suite, it could literally go in a lounge. We oftentimes need our own space. I definitely envision this sofa being somewhere in a space where there's a nice built-in bar, books stacked high to read, martinis all around, champagne. This is the perfect sofa for relaxation, comfortability, and just like you said, a romantic vibe, and that's what it gives.
Okay, you had me a martini. We should call this the martini sofa. It looks perfect for enjoying one of those. But what you said earlier about, things come back around and trends come back around. This next piece, the Renee bench by Julian Chichester, they described it as having some Art Deco influence, which I know Art Deco is known for having these curved edges. And someone once told me that Art Deco is the new mid-century. I know that's like a big statement. Maybe we don't have to agree with it, but I think that, this Art Deco wave coming back is indicative of, these curves that we're seeing. But Kia, this looks like it's made of some interesting materials. We have this beautiful plush velvet Bardo sofa, but can you tell us, what the Renee bench is made out of?
Absolutely. And I just want to piggyback a little bit. It's totally indicative of mid-century. And I totally agree. This Renee bench is totally Art Deco. It's so fun. It's got that waterfall feel. It's made of this woodly finish. You can either opt for this fuchsia green leather, or you can opt for this plush velvet. It totally depends on which area you'd like to lean into. I think customizing color is important, but also customizing texture to me is more so important, because no matter what you're trying to convey when you're putting this piece together, whether it be from a faux leather or a plush velvet, it's got to ring in some sort of a luxury feel. And that's what the Renee bench gives, whether you opt for that faux leather or a genuine leather or a velvet. It's amazing. And it fits any corner, it fits any space. Truly transitional piece. I love it.
Yeah, no, it's interesting that if, because it comes in these different lighter or darker colors, it kind of brings a whole different vibe. It can lean a little bit more moody. It can lean a little bit lighter. So like you said, like picking a color or a finish is just as important as picking the shape of the piece itself.
Absolutely.
All right, Justin, we're moving right along. I love this. We're getting a lot in. Justin, let's talk about all things woven. It seems like everyone is putting out these wonderfully woven products, from seating to lighting and everything in between. Tell us why you think that we are gravitating towards this right now.
I think with everything we've gone through recently, we're all having a bit of wanderlust. And I don't mean just for place, but also time. And I think we can all think back about those really incredible interiors that inspired us to become interior designers, having some bit of woven somewhere, and getting to see at this spring's market just the amount of woven items, the different materials, and the different ways that they've been woven was really inspiring to see it. Not just the color, the texture, but then also the fact that you really felt a part of the process.
I love that, a part of the process. Yes, you can see the hand in this. Justin, you highlighted this stunning sofa by Thomas Pheasant for Baker, the kimono sofa. I remember seeing this at market in the showroom, and my whole group, we were stunned by its beauty. It feels so modern and also like an heirloom at the same time. What makes this a standout for you? And I'm also curious to know where you would put such a standout piece like this.
Well, first I'm going to say going to market are for experience, just as you described, Sarah, just being awestruck. And the way in which the entire collection was displayed was just truly just heart-stopping.
Mm-hmm.
And, getting to meet Thomas, Mr. Pheasant, and getting to speak with him, about the collection and, his inspiration behind it, really captured that sense of wanderlust. For him, it was harking back to a trip to Japan. And there were certain moments in that trip where he was just right there with the traditional methods and means of how, Japanese culture with respect to product piece, influences their culture. It really has this wonderful amount of texture that's really well balanced. And I think because of the way that the woven texture is accomplished, it almost degrades as you're looking at it. So this ombre effect, but in weave. Very, very cool.
On a totally different woven note, and I'm so glad you picked this one, because I think when we think woven, we think of raffia or sisal or wicker, and this Walia daybed from Bernhardt. It is like soft and plushy and chunky, and it has this nice cool contemporary effect. But tell me more about this piece. What draws you to it? Because it is quite different, I think.
Absolutely, and you hit on all of the major points. First off, to be able to achieve that level of chunk, that level of texture in that performance side fabric, and have it woven in a really almost heavy-handed way, it was reminiscent of that trend of those chunky woven blankets that everybody wanted to have in their living rooms and their bedrooms. So that kind of envelopment also felt great because it started playing with the scale. But the whole frame of the Walia is so minimalist and just so thin that the juxtaposition just felt very fresh.
Absolutely. Well said. All right, we're gonna jump back around with Sarah for her second trend. So Sarah, I love this one. You highlighted the movement towards things that are asymmetrical, and you think that would might design or drive a designer crazy, because you guys, I think, have these amazing visions for symmetry and balance. But tell us about this asymmetrical trend. What does it do to a room, and is it important to kind of like skew that balance that I think we so often want in our spaces?
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I love asymmetry. I kind of love the balance and sort of the way it fights with what you are going against. Everybody wants everything to be symmetrical, and it drives clients crazy sometimes when I want to make things asymmetrical, but I did notice it a lot and I liked it a lot. Naturally speaking, symmetry is meant to be more aesthetically pleasing, and what asymmetry really brings to the table is a point of visual interest and something that everybody wants to talk about. So there's a way to really balance it, and I say balance it with symmetry. Let it be the star of the show. Let it be almost like a piece of art, and almost like that three-dimensional piece of art in a room that can just really speak for itself and just stand on its own. And that's why I just really vibed with the asymmetry I saw everywhere.
Yeah, no, I did too. And I do think that like a room kind of needs that break and perfect symmetry. And the pieces that you chose were such great examples. I'm pretty obsessed with this noir dining table, the Floyd. I feel like it might be like an entryway into the asymmetrical trend, just because it's like, it's on the ground. It's not like a total focal point, even though it is so beautiful. I would be someone who would like pull out the chair and like, look down at the base of the table. And we also picked this incredible Regina Andrew Talon chandelier. And I feel like that is also kind of a good way to dive into it. How would you balance, pun intended, these in a room? You already said that you would maybe put it in a room that had a lot of symmetry, or like kind of give us like a design tip on like how to approach these pieces.
Yeah, I mean, I always say the old saying is keep it simple, stupid. Like just keep it simple and classic. It's just like don't overthink everything else. It's like don't overwork the room. And I'm very much somebody who designs for functionality. And so for me, if a piece can be functional and still sort of that piece of art and be that piece that everyone talks about, then it accomplishes two goals without bringing in more stuff into a room. And I think it's just especially with like a light fixture, it's something that people are going to talk about. If you put it over your dining room table, that's going to be the topic of conversation or a topic of conversation at a dinner party. So it's really great way to bring in that visual interest. And as long as you're balancing it with clean, simple lines and really keeping it classic throughout. And it really helps, like you said, break up the mind a little bit, right? So we're not just seeing a sea of the same thing and we kind of know what to expect. It's sort of like, your friend that says something a little bit shocking that like is also really fun. The Real Housewives of decor.
Yeah. Well, and it should be noted that this beautiful easy wood on the table and also this simple black metal of the light fixture, they're kind of easy materials. We're not throwing a red lacquer asymmetrical dining table into the mix or like a crazy blue asymmetrical chandelier. Those materials are kind of seamless, it seems like, with its surroundings. So it makes sense that if you're going to go kind of this funky shape, maybe target some materials or colors that are a little easier, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not trying to be too many things. It's asymmetrical. It knows that, and it's like, look at me, I'm pretty. I don't need to be all the other flashy things too.
Yep. I'm gonna remember that. Keep it simple, stupid. I mean, to like put a sticky
I
on
say it all the time to my kids.
Put a sticky on my computer to remind me that. Awesome.
Don't overthink it.
Exactly. All right, Kia, back to you. So I love that you ID'd a shape and like a shape trend first, and now you have a material, and it is not dying in popularity, whether you like it or not, but it is brass. It is everywhere. Why do people love it? Is it because it, kind of works with a lot of different styles? I'm curious to hear your take on it.
Yeah. So for me, brass has always been in, like you said, it's never going to die. Historically and culturally speaking, brass and gold were at the top of the list for metals and pieces that represented some sort of superiority or some sort of hierarchy and just status and where you stood. And it's not gotten any less beautiful. It's not gotten any less manageable to work with, on pieces that you're wanting to customize, pieces that you're wanting to create and build, like for myself with the Nakia chandelier, the Nairobi pendants and the NDD sconces that, we just launched with Ngala Trading. But it's a beautiful accent. It brings that finishing touch to any piece that you're looking to. And most people, they're like, brass, gold, they're not my thing, but I'm a chrome person, that's okay too. But I think brass brings a needed richness to a lot of different pieces. And it seems as though every piece that I laid my eyes on, it had some sort of brass inlay, some sort of brass finish to it. And I just fall in love more and more every time I come across a piece that has an inlay, or an accent. I love it.
Yeah, I think that it's here to stay, and I'm happy with that. I love brass in all forms. I love unlacquered brass. I'm definitely on that team. But speaking of your pendants and your lighting that you've done with Ngala Trading, I know we met at the showroom, and I totally fangirled all over those pieces. They were so stunning. The rich fringe leather, the sleek brass base. I mean, there wasn't something not to love in these pieces. And this Nakia chandelier, it seems like it was kind of like a no-brainer for brass for this piece, or did you consider some other, metal finishes?
Well, honestly, when I was in the prototype phase of creating this chandelier, I just really wanted the chandelier to be sleek, chic, and everything that represented who I was and my personality. I also wanted it to speak to what the brand had already created and the chandeliers that they had already produced. And so it wasn't until the later stage that I was like, I think we should, cap this with a piece of brass. Of course we had known that the the entire base, the structure, was going to be brass, but I wanted there to be that one significant brass piece that caught everyone's eye. And it was that trim around the top of it. Now, that brass trim can be removed from the wall pendants, the wall sconces, but it can't be removed from the chandelier itself or the pendants. But I just thought that it was amazing to be able to have that one particular piece with that one amazing finish. It was like the cherry on top to that chandelier.
Absolutely. No, I wouldn't change a thing about it. I think it is so perfect. And it's just the little glimmer, that little hit of glitz and glam. The other product that you highlighted is the opposite, in the sense that this whole piece is beautiful and shiny and brassy. This bench from Mr. Brown, it's almost like a sculptural work of art. I mean, I would could you sit in it? It's just too beautiful. But why did you pick this piece, and how would you sell it to a client who might be a little on the fence?
I picked it specifically because it was a work of art. I am in love with art. I am in love with artistic pieces. I am in love with pieces that are conversation starters, that are focal pieces. And this particular piece can be placed anywhere depending on, what it's accented with. We could do no cushion there, keep it sleek, keep it chic. We could go cushion there, kind of customize it, bring in some color, bring in some pops, bring in some layers, bring in some texture. So choosing pieces that are versatile for me and that are also doubling as artistic works of art, they make my day. That's why I'm at market, to find pieces like that.
Yeah, no, you're right. It is so versatile. It could be a standout, sculptural art piece. And then also at the end of the day is like great seating for having guests over. It's kind of a win-win. This is one of my favorite pieces out of all that we saw at High Point, a real winner for sure. And last but not least, Justin, we have your second trend pick that celebrates the handmade. And why does it feel so relevant to champion the handmade right now? And is that something that you really look for when you're shopping for a client? You look for these really handmade artisanal pieces?
I think with social media, we're all of us visually saturated with product. And I think no matter what, we're trying to curate spaces for ourselves and our clients. And there's something really great about a handmade quality of a piece because it sets it apart. It's unique. So even if the manufacturer has made many of them, there aren't two that are the same. And I think that really speaks to the kind of experience all of us want to have in the places that we live and work.
Yeah, it seems to be like a theme throughout all this whole conversation of this balance. Like you need that hit of metal in a room, or you need a hit of something handmade or tactile or something with texture in a room. And talking about texture and the handmade, this Bianca pendant from Made Goods, I mean, my inner mermaid is screaming because there's shell and mother of pearl, and it is so insanely beautiful. I'd almost want to wear this pendant if I could. It's so lovely. But, talk about a conversation piece. What is your take on this piece? And were you really gravitated towards it at market?
I think it's really evocative of one of the things that all of us try to imbue in our spaces, and that's a bit of jewelry. And quite literally, that's how it comes across. And I think it's very much typical of that handmade process where, and there were two next to one another, they were not the same, but they were in the same spirit. And so I think when looking at pieces like this, that's what you're looking for, that elevation of technique, that elevation of style.
Yes, indeed. And yeah, they're unique. No one's going to have, this exact design, which I think makes it feel so special. Your other pieces were these really lovely frequency pottery pieces from Global Views. And when I think of handmade, or like getting into that, starting to collect things that are handmade, I immediately think of accent pieces like this. I think it's kind of attainable, right?
Yes, well, Form Design Studio, this is part of their collection at Global Views. And what I love about them is the primitive quality of just the overall look and feel of them. And these, notches coming through. I mean, it's just giving you that bit of record keeping in a very romantic way.
Yes. Oh, I love that, record keeping. That's a really cool way to think of it. All right, guys, we just touched on so much. I feel like I am walking in, or we'll be walking into High Point in the fall with like, you know, my style spotter, you know, goggles on, looking for, you know, the picks that you guys will have for October market. Thank you guys for sharing all of this with us. I hope everyone watching is inspired and go out and shop and look for these things out in the marketplace. Before we wrap, I did just want to ask one final question to all of you. I'll start with you, Justin, but what are you looking forward to at Fall Market? And also, can you tell us what High Point means to you or why it's so important to attend?
For Fall Market, I'm going to be looking for color. I think coming out of Spring Market, you know, given the trends that we've discussed today with Sarah and Kia, I mean, the color is something that I think not as prevalent at Spring Market, at least for me in looking at trends. High Point Market, though, I mean, this is the opportunity to not only enrich your professional life, your career, your clients' homes and businesses, but also to, you know, continue that network of friends, acquaintances, and colleagues. And I share this with so many people on the fence about coming to High Point, and that's that it's not just about the product, it's about the relationships with the vendors and the other designers. And you create this great community and realize you're a part of it. And so I'm grateful to be able to attend and have so for many years, and looking forward to keeping on.
Yes, Justin, I couldn't have said it better myself. Like the relationships make it, you know, all the more worthwhile to go. Yes, it's exciting to see product, but to see friends and industry friends is all the best. Kia, what about you? What are you looking forward to at Fall Market, and what does High Point mean to you?
This market, I'm going with an open heart and an open mind. I think my journey through design has been all about discovery, and not all the time do I have to know what it is I'm specifically looking for. So this market, I'm going to go, and whatever jumps out at my heart, you know, that's what I'm into, and that's what I'm interested in. But a lot like Justin said, you know, going to connect with others, you know, being inspired is at the top of my list. And so I gain a lot of inspiration just by seeing what people are wearing. You know, I'm totally inspired by that. So going to be inspired, going to connect, you know, going to build those vendor relationships. That's priority, that's key, but I'm just going to see what I can soak up.
Absolutely. I know we all come home with camera rolls, I'm sure, on our phones that are like hundreds of images long of like colors or like good outfits, or just even like, you know, restaurants and their design. I mean, it really is such an, you know, inspiring time. All right, Sarah, let's end it with you. What are you looking forward to, and what does High Point mean to you?
Well, I mean, definitely ditto everything that Kia and Justin said, but also so many brands told me they were going to have hundreds of introductions at October Market. So I'm really excited to see all the new stuff that's out there and kind of everything that's coming down the line. So I'm excited for that. And then, you know, for High Point, I've said this before to people, for me being in Austin, Texas, we don't have a design market, and it's very hard for us to actually see and touch things in person on a regular basis without really going out of our way to do so. So for us, for me and my team, High Point is hands down the most important trip we take all year. I love connecting with the designers and kind of being with my people, but it is so important from a research perspective for all of those products out there, both from a vendor standpoint and their customer service relationships, but then also being able to see and touch and feel and sit on and all those things is hands down the most important thing that we do all year.
Amazing. No, you guys, you killed it. Thank you for these trends. Thank you for the insight. I look forward to seeing all of you when we're back in October, and I look forward to also seeing what you guys style spot at the Fall Market. So thank you again for your time, and you guys have a good rest of the summer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Helene Oberman, Managing Director of Interior Design Magazine, and I'd like to welcome you to Product Live. This is our series that delves into the products and trends, grabbing the industry, and in real time, looking at the minds behind the design. So, What do the weaving techniques of antique textiles, the ever evolving formations of the earth, the celestial atmosphere of the sky, and the infinite complexity of fractals all have in common? Tarkett, the 140-year-old flooring company committed to providing innovative and sustainable solutions for the built environment. And today we're going to explore the development of 3 new collections launching for the brand and how each capture the very spirit of these varying inspirations. With me to discuss these new designs is Misty Lewis, Director of Design for Soft Surfaces, Lee Wright, Design Director for LVT, and Tommy Keener, Senior Director of Design. Welcome, everybody.
Thank you for having us.
Let's start with the new collection, Modern Refinement, which was designed in-house by the Tarkett team. So Misty, you are first up. So the commercial market has seen a real shift towards a more residential feel over the last few years, if not more. But can you tell us over how the last year, with everyone spending so much time at home, played really a real influence on this new collection?
Yes, we actually began designing the collection before the pandemic. And even then, we were already acutely aware of the desire for commercial interiors to feel more like home. And then COVID hit, and there was all of a sudden this necessity to feel safe and cozy and comfortable at work. And I think that's when we realized that we had to really embrace the tactile properties of textiles and the effect that they can have on our well-being. We wanted to really create a collection of products that were at once usable and cocoon-like. So we really played up the texture and thoughtfully curated the products to provide a sense of soothing and warmth.
So you look to antique textiles really as the inspiration for this new collection. So what were you looking to source from these sort of vintage pieces that you could then translate into flooring?
Well, we knew we really wanted to take a deep dive into the archival textiles as an inspiration source, but we really had no idea what that was going to look like. So as we began researching, 3 really distinct methods kept showing up. And from there, we were able to distill each method down to a textile that we could create on our machinery using the principles of these textiles, the ancient textiles with a modern twist.
Mm-hmm. So color is always such a big part of the development for any collection, but for Modern Refinement, why did you decide to keep the palette fairly neutral in tone?
Oh, we had so much fun curating this palette. Since the collection is based on archival textiles, we knew in order to keep the palette true, we would need to use only colors found in nature. But luckily for us, Mother Nature provides the most amazing, well-rounded palette imaginable. So we have everything from beautiful stone hues to bittersweet ochre to saturated green. And the entire palette is really much warmer than what we've done in the past because we knew these warm colors are directly related to comfort and well-being. And we spent a lot of time coloring this collection. We just really wanted to get those subtle hues just right and just the nuanced color.
Mm-hmm. So let's sort of dive into some of the patterns of Modern Refinement. So let's start with knot stitch. So thinking of those sort of creature comforts that we all enjoy from home, how did you sort of incorporate that into the design for this pattern?
Well, knot stitch was so fun to create. This is where we really got to push the envelope on our machinery and try to mimic the feel of a really chunky hand knotted textile. So to construct knot stitch, we took small and large denier yarns and mixed them, trying to replicate an irregular handmade feel. And we think the finished product touches on these things and really creates like a true sensory experience. And knot stitch is usable and inviting, and it's really the centerpiece of this collection.
Mm-hmm. Well, I always kind of think when I was looking at the images of it, that it kind of had that like chunky sweater or that like cozy warm blanket that we always have on the corner of our couch that we always want. So you definitely captured that. But you know, I know as a company that Tarkett is really always thinking about really doing better, whether it's for people, planet, and performance. So how does that come into play in terms of the backing for knot stitch?
Well, we're constantly looking at ways we can be better stewards of the earth. And I mean, who would have thought you could take discarded windshields and divert them from landfills and recycle them into carpet backing? And that's exactly the recipe for our ethos tile backing. and not stitches exclusively available on Ethos. But you know, not only do we focus on good materials, but we also focus on sustainable design. We really want to extend the life cycle of our products. So the design has to be as sustainable as the materials it's comprised of. And I think you'll see this throughout our product portfolio.
So moving on to the next pattern, Threadcraft. So you look to linen fabric as the inspiration for this pattern, but what was the specific challenge you really had to overcome during the development of this design and the construction of the new pattern?
Yeah, so like you said, Threadcraft is based on linen fabric. And when we were in the research phase for modern refinement, we just really fell in love with linen all over again. So the challenge was really, how do we replicate that irregular, slubby texture while still retaining our performance standards? So what we came up with was this really blended look using a variegated twist yarn with a slightly visible vertical and horizontal pattern to emulate the warp and weft. And by using different yarn processing techniques, we were able to mimic that aesthetic and fuse the traditional linen look with a modern sensibility.
There's an option for Threadcraft to come in Powerbond, which is a 50-year-old technology developed by Tarkett that's really stood the test of time. So can you tell us a little bit more about Powerbond?
Yes, Powerbond is revolutionary as it's a hybrid floor covering that combines elements from carpet with a resilient. The wear layer is actually a tufted nylon fabric for aesthetics and comfort, while the backing is a closed cell vinyl cushion, which provides durability and performance. And Powerbond is waterproof, not just water resistant. So you're right about the test of time. We still have 50-year-old installations that are still being used today.
Okay, so let's move on to the last of the soft surfaces, which is corded cloth. So what was the source for this pattern and how did you translate it into modular carpet tile?
Well, we knew we wanted to create a building block for this collection, a pattern that could truly be used anywhere and in any environment. And that's when we came upon corded cloth, which was a fabric originally used in British work clothing. It's as beautiful as it is performance driven, with clean lines laid parallel and then stitched together. The goal here was to create an elegant, essential style with subtle striated nuances to add visual interest. Corded cloth is available in tile and Powerbond, and in both backings, it appears seamless on the floor.
So thinking about how to complement these plush designs, you also launched a coordinating LVT pattern, Artifice. So how did you interpret the softness of carpet into resilient flooring?
Yeah, well, so during the development phase, we experimented with adding various elements that we found from these historic textiles to our different LVT designs so we could see what resonated. We landed with a layered and complex pattern of soft linear cords combined with a stone-like visual. This allowed us to create Artifice, which is a non-traditional visual that you can only get with digital printing.
So we all know like designers love to customize. I think our audience out there hears me say it like every conversation, and they really have the like capability to do so with Artifice. So can you tell us in what ways?
Yes, so we get really excited when we start to talk about the customization capabilities with our LVT products. We launched digital printing about 5 years ago, and that gives us the ability to print on demand. So our designers work side by side with our digital printing team located in our Florence, Alabama facility. This gives us a lot of flexibility in regard to modifying a pattern or maybe tweaking a color in real time. It's really been a game changer.
Okay, so we all know designers love to customize, but you know, they're really still concerned about the strength and longevity of the products that they specify. And Tarkett really developed a technology specifically for your resilient flooring that stands up to the toughest tests. So can you tell us about this technology?
Yes, I can. We can appreciate the thoughts about designers and how they want to have longevity and strength with the products. And believe it or not, as product designers, we really love to tell the tectonic story. We know that successful products not only have to be beautiful, but they need to perform. So when we developed Tectonic, we set out to create not only the best-in-class polyurethane coating, but we wanted to not compromise any of the visuals of our products. And I'm really glad to say that to date, we have produced over 22 million square feet of LVT with Tectonic, protection, and we've had 0 claims for scuffing and scratching.
So while Modern Refinement was designed in-house, you have a long-standing list of collaborators with whom you work, and 2 of them happen to be also launching new collections, Suzanne Tick and Jane Barnes. So Tommy, we're going to bring you into the conversation now. So Suzanne Tick's new collection, Metapharma, is really based on sort of the physicality of the earth set against the more sort of intangible, I like to say, spirituality one finds in the sky. But do you believe this collection's real connection to nature, which I think is really important right now, plays into our stronger sense about the well-being of an individual?
Oh, absolutely. The Metapharma Collection, it explores the textures and colors that are derived in nature that make us feel rooted in being. The earth gives form to our physical world, a space where consciousness is displayed, connecting and shaping how we relate to one another in a space. And that evokes feelings of that stability and calm that Suzanne was going for.
I know Suzanne personally, and I know how much time and thought, she always puts into the color palette of her collections.
Yeah, she really wanted to focus on those natural colors, things found throughout nature. And so she did a lot of research and then developed this color palette to feature warm and cool neutrals, lighter tones and colors, as well as deep modern jewel tones found. You can see it for sure in the sky or every day throughout nature. You see those colorways that she developed, and they're absolutely beautiful.
Okay, so let's begin with the first pattern, Skyward. So I know the name really says it all, but what was the specific inspiration for this design?
Yeah, this was really cool what she did. It was a take on an obscured night sky and a take on conceptually fixed stars. And while no celestial objects are fixed in the sky, but they move slowly and not perceptible to humans, it's a visual nod to the constant as well. So it's a great play in what she did there with this pattern.
The next pattern, which is Earthbound, what was Suzanne trying to capture about the earth in this design?
The design is really rooted, and you'll see those layerings, like the layering of the earth and the various paths that lead us to gathering spaces where we find stability.
So Lee, we're going to bring you back in. So thinking about, how to complement the carpet collection, you launched Analog Field. Would you say this LVT design is really sort of like the horizon where like the earth and the sky meet?
Yes, that's correct. So Analog Field has a whimsical approach with fun accent colors, like Tommy mentioned, in the jewel tones used in the carpet patterns. And the LVT pattern explores the idea of the continuity of the atmosphere alongside its irregularities. It also juxtaposes light with dark, earth with sky, permanence with evolution.
Analog Field really seems to be a great representation of the technical capabilities that Threadcraft has launched in terms of digital printing.
Right, it is, as well as all of these, the LVT products that we're talking about today, they're all digitally printed. So it's a simple process. And because our design team is sitting alongside the digital print facility, it just makes the whole process streamlined and really simple.
Turning from Suzanne Tick, let's now move on to Jane Barnes. And she has a very specific method how she develops her patterning for the collection she does for Threadcraft. So Tommy, can you walk us through her process and what was really the ultimately sort of the foundation for these 2 new patterns that she's come up with?
Yeah, Jane has a truly unique process for designing, and we're always fascinated in the way that she does this. She uses mathematical equations to do her product design. This collection started with her fascination around a geometrical concept called a space-filling fractal.
Okay, so taking this idea of a fractal, which, okay, I'm not such a mathy person, but how has Jane turned the idea of a fractal on its head, literally, through her patented software to create spin-off?
Okay, so this space-filling fractal was used to squeeze, rotate, and then reflect pieces of a textured pattern into various square and plank shapes. The roll goods that we produce look like a medley of squares and planks even before being cut into tiles. So it was a really cool way that she did this design.
So spin-off comes in a variety of colors and sizes to be a real solution for the commercial market.
Yeah, by their design, corollary and spin-off have a plank look built into the pattern, like I was saying. So they're perfect fit whether they're installed in modules or sheet goods.
And then, of course, you just mention it, but hence its name, Corollary is a further development of Spin-Off. So how did Jane adapt her initial design for Spin-Off to create the second pattern?
Yeah, so building on that geometric approach, Jane assigned playful accent colors to certain areas of the pattern to create corollary. And by maintaining those same base neutrals throughout the palette, corollary and Spin-Off coordinate beautifully together and create unique zones or more varied modular layouts.
Okay, so Lee, finally. So what became the focus of this coordinating LVT? And let me see if I can get it right. Polyamino.
That's correct.
Which is a series of sort of, it seems like puzzles layered upon each other.
Yeah, yes, it is. So Jane continued the geometric theme with the coordinating LVT, as you said, called Polyamino. She found inspiration in the video game Tetris, but instead of always working with 4 squares at a time like you do in Tetris, Jane mixed up the number of connected squares to create a more variation. And then she layered patterns similar to Sudoku puzzle over this pattern in order to be able to add color kind of in a random way. The numbers in the puzzle were replaced by signed colors, which gives us the evenly dispersed textured background. And so, like I said, like the other LVTs that we've talked about today, Polyamino is also digitally printed, and you could easily change those accent colors to fit an individual space.
Well, I mean, it's just so interesting how Jane's mind works, and she's able to come up with these layering of Sudoku and Tetris into a pattern. But unfortunately, we've run out of time, but I think we've gotten such a great overview of these 3 new collections. So Misty, Lee, and Tommy, I really appreciate your time and your insight into the development for Modern Refinement, Metapharma, Spin-Off and Corollary, and Polyamino. And of course, to our wonderful audience out there, please make sure to check out the Target website to learn more. And I hope to see you all this fall live and in person and the new collections at NeoCon.